When Google's new Nano Banana came out a few days ago, it took the internet by storm. But did you know that Nano Banana has another secret talent that not many people are talking about? It is awesome at analyzing images, and in my opinion, blows up every other image analysis model out of the water. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can build a workflow step by step that analyzes all of your images, renames them, and sorts them into different folders. Let's go ahead and see how it works. So I have a Google Drive folder here, and I've just tossed in 9 random images from Pexels. Let's go ahead and rename and sort these. I'm going to go ahead, hit execute workflow. It'll search for the files, loop over each one individually, analyze the image using Nano Banana. It's going to update the file, rename it, search for any existing files and folders, create a folder, move the file, and the cycle repeats itself. I'm going to let this run for 3 or 4 cycles, then hit stop, show you the results, and then we'll dive into the step-by-step build. That's 2 so far. So the beauty of this workflow is that it just doesn't create a new folder every single time. We're actually looking for any existing folders and passing them to the AI agent. So if the agent decides that one particular file should go in an already existing folder, it doesn't have to create a folder, and instead it just moves the file right away. All right, so that's about 6 photos, 5 photos done. I'm going to go hit stop and let's see the results. So if we go back to Google Drive and hit refresh, we'll see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different folders: travel and adventure, people, nature and landscapes, and cityscapes. So if we double click here, we have this one: desert, caravan, dunes, camel, shadows, adventure, travel. Perfect. To go to people, we have 2 photos with people: man jumping into water with other people. That's one. Long-haired woman in blue dress. That's one. Then we have nature and landscapes and cityscapes as well. So if you have a dump of hundreds or even thousands of photos, you can just let this workflow go to town on that folder. Nano Banana will analyze each image, rename the image, and this AI agent will categorize it into any particular folder that you want. And if you wanted to make this even more powerful, you could tell Gemini to either label the image or rename it as delete. And if the AI agent finds a file that's named delete, it can just go ahead and delete that file automatically as well. So if you're new here, my name is Shub, and I build AI and automations to help businesses and professionals save time and money. If you want this template, just go ahead and click on the link in the description to download it. And if you would like to hire me to build automations for you or your company, just go ahead and click the link in the description to book a meeting. And do remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more AI and automation content. So let's go ahead and see how we can build this. So I'm going to set this up in the same canvas, but let's scroll down and start again from the beginning. So one step that I like to take before building any n8n workflow, and I've just recently started doing this, but it's really helped speed up the development process, is to drop a post-it note onto the workflow and just map out what it is that I am trying to achieve. So this workflow has a few steps. First off, we need to have the photos in a Google Drive folder. I'll show you that setup. The next step is to loop over every item, analyze the image, and rename it using AI. Then we want to list all of the files and list all of the folders, that are already in there, aggregate all of that data, and then pass all of that into an AI agent. So let's start filling this out. I'm going to start with the manual trigger. There we are. Drag this out here. And then we want to search for files in a Google Drive folder. So I'm going to click the plus icon, search the drive, click on Google Drive, and we're going to search files and folders. Make sure you have your credentials set up. If you don't have your credentials set up, I'm going to link to a tutorial in the description where I walk you through it. It's a 3 to 4 minute process. A resource is a file or folder. The operation is search. Search method, search file or folder name. That's fine. Leave the search query blank because we want to get a list of all possible photos or all possible files in the folder. And let's just click return all as well. But under filter, you want to click add a filter, and you need to filter by folder. So the folder that I'm working with is called Nano Banana Images. I'm going to go back in here and we can search for Nano Banana images, search for your folder, add another filter, click on what to search, and instead of files and folders, just choose files. So this will only return a list of files and nothing else. Okay, so you hit save and execute the workflow. We'll see that we have 4 items, and that corresponds to the 4 image files that are still outside in this folder. Let's come back to n8n. Now, the next step is to loop over each one of these files. So let's click the plus again, search for loop over items. So if I zoom in over here, we'll see that we started with a single item here, and we have 4 items here. So that means once we move from this node to the next node, that next node will be executed 4 times because there's 4 separate data points flowing from here to here. Now, in order to control that, we can either use an aggregate node to combine all 4 items into a single item, but since we want to deal with each one individually, we're using the loop over items node. So these 4 will go into the loop. Item 1 will flow through the loop will complete. Item 2 will flow through the loop until all 4 items are done. So let's go ahead and delete this as well. Now, once we enter the loop, the first thing that we want to do is to analyze the image. We're going to click the plus icon, drag it down, and this time we want to make an HTTP request. I'm using the HTTP request because I am currently using OpenRouter, and as of this recording, OpenRouter is offering Nano Banana for free, so I'm using this for now. You can obviously use Gemini directly as well, but you're still talking to Gemini even though it's through OpenRouter. So in OpenRouter, make sure you have an API clicked, and if we scroll down and click on CURL, you'll see the different parameters that we need to put into that HTTP request. So the first parameter is the URL itself. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this, come back into n8n, and the method we are working with is post because we're sending data. We're not asking for data. Drop in the URL. Now for authentication, you can select predefined credential type, and under credential type, search for OpenRouter. Click there. If you don't have credentials already, just go ahead and click create new credential. Come back into OpenRouter, click create an API key, grab the API key and paste it in. Now we want to send a body. The body content type you can keep as JSON, and under specify body, select using JSON. So this will open up this big dialog box. Click expression. Let's expand this, and let's come over here. Grab this entire piece of text from the single quote to the end of the single quote. Copy, and let's paste it in. Let's come back out again, and just going to turn this off because I don't want to fire that node right now in this execution. I'm going to turn it off. Click execute workflow. It's going to search for the files, and we'll see that we now have the different variables available over here. So I just scrolled up and copied the exact request that I had. Let's reactivate the node, open it up, come back down, and I'm just going to replace what I had copied, paste it in. So here is the prompt: analyze this image, and based on what you find, output a suggested file name in this format. Blah, blah, blah. The file name should be descriptive enough to find in search and use up to 6 or 7 words. And we're also passing in the image URL. Now, the way we're passing in the URL is this is a standard Google Drive URL. And accessing this URL will automatically download the file. So that's what we're looking for. So where it says ID equals, just go ahead and grab the ID from the loop over items node and drag it over here. So this is going to complete that whole URL. And so I forgot to mention one step. You need to make sure that your main folder is shared. So go to share, click the share button, and make sure that anyone with the link can view. Otherwise, n8n is not going to be able to access the folder. Click done, come back into n8n, and our image analysis is complete. Let's hit save, execute. And once this is complete, we'll see that Nano Banana Google Gemini has outputted a file name for us. So we have one item, double click, curious horn gram resting its straw. Perfect. So we have our file name. Let's click out the next node. Next, we want to rename the file. So click the plus icon again, go back to Drive, click on Drive, and this time update a file. Operation is update the file. To update, instead of from list, choose by ID. Scroll down, go to loop over items. If you can't find it there, go to search files and folders, grab the ID, drag it in. We don't want to change the file content, but we do want to have a new and updated file name. So click there, scroll up, and grab the content from the HTTP request, drag it in here, and that will rename the file. So I'm just going to pin this so we don't keep making this HTTP request. Exit, execute the workflow, and we'll see that the file name has indeed been updated. Next, we want to get a list of all existing file folders. We want to get a list of all of the existing folders. So I'm going to click the plus icon again, search to Drive, click on Google Drive, search files and folders, search file and folder names, leave the search query blank, make sure return all is enabled, and under filters, choose the folder, the same one that we were working with earlier. So I'm just going to search for Nano Banana and add another filter, and under what to search, search for folders. And if we execute, we'll get a list of all of those folders. So you'll see that there are 6 items, which means there are 6 different sets of these 2 data points. You have the ID and you have the name. And really that's all that we need to move on to the next step. Now, if we come back here, we'll see that we are now working with 6 items. So we need to aggregate these 6 items by using the aggregate node and combine all of those into one. So we want to aggregate the IDs, add a field to aggregate, and we want to aggregate the names as well. So let's execute and see what the result is. So you will see that we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 IDs and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 names. So each the ID 0 corresponds to name 0, ID 1 corresponds to name 1, so on and so forth. And that's perfectly fine because in the next step, the AI agent will be able to understand and piece together that ID 0 corresponds to name 0. Let's close that. And let's go ahead and drop in an AI agent. Let's search for agent and put in under source for prompt, instead of the connected chat trigger node, click define below. Click on add an option, click on system message, and let's go ahead and drop in our prompts. Click expression, expand it. So here's the prompt. You are a photo sorting agent. You will be provided with a descriptive file name and its corresponding Google Drive file ID, as well as a list of existing folder IDs and their names. Based on the name, determine if the file can go into any of the existing folders, and if so, use the move file tool to do so. And we will set that up. Now. If there is no existing folder, use the create folder tool to create a folder with a generic category style name, and then use the move tool to move the file to that folder. Pretty simple, right? And in the prompt itself, we need to provide the file names and the folder names. So I'm just going to expand that, drop in our file name, which we can find in the update file node, drop in the name, grant the ID, drop that in. And we also need the folder IDs and corresponding names, which are comma separated. So we just drag the top ID over here. You will see that all of the IDs are in with commas in between them. Drag the names, and put that right below. So we have the IDs. We also have the names. Perfect. So if you're testing this and you're running into an error under search files and folders, that's because we're looking for folders. And if your Google Drive doesn't already have any folders, it's going to return empty and it won't be able to move to the next step. So there's two ways that we can fix that. Number one, we can either add two dummy folders called XYZ in ADC, as I have done here. Or number two, we can double click these search files and folders, go to settings, and we can click always output data. And this node will output an empty item if nothing would normally be returned. So that'll make sure that the execution continues. But when testing, you need to be able to get these variable names. And to do that, you must have a few dummy folders in here. So that's our AI agent. Now the AI agent needs a brain. So click on the plus under chat model. I'm going to use OpenAI because it works with tools very well. Use 4.1 mini, 5 mini, either are fine. I'm going to stick with 4.1 minutes. And this agent needs a bunch of tools in order to process these files. So the first tool is not a Google Drive tool. This time it's going to be folder and create. Now the folder name, you have to click on expression and type in this specific expression. So two curly braces, $sign from AI, and in the parentheses, type in folder underscore name. This variable basically tells the AI that you have to fill this in. The parent drive is my drive, and the parent folder, as we had seen earlier, is the Nano Banana folder that we were working with. That's done. Create a folder. We also need to give it a move a file tool. It also needs a move a file tool. So click the plus icon, search for drives again, click on Google Drive, resource file. This time the file is move. Now the file is going to be, let the model define the parameter. So the parent drive is my drive and the parent folder will be defined by the model because the model will choose where to move that file. Let's click out. Now let's make things interesting. Let's give it one more tool. And we'll call it file delete. The file ID is defined by the model. And we can update the instructions in our AI agent to say, if a file is named you use the U file. Let's go back to the HTTP request, open this up, and modify the instructions. If the main subject is too blurry or the photo is very low quality, output delete. Right. Perfect. So that's the entire flow setup. And finally, we just close the loop by connecting the agent back into loop over items. Hit save, and that is our entire workflow. Now to make sure that the delete function works, I have uploaded a blurry photo. So let's run the workflow and see if it does indeed delete this file. So come back into n8n, unpin the HTTP request, hit save, and let's execute the workflow. So it found 5 photos. It's going to go through each one. And hopefully, as this whole cycle completes, all of our images from here will be sorted and one image will have been deleted. Right, so the workflow is done. Let's go ahead and see what it did. Refresh. Okay, so it has categorized all of our images in here. Now, for some reason, it did not pick up the delete image. Instead, it just categorized it as abstract, blurred people walking narrow alleyway. So we would just need to go back in here and redefine this prompt. I think the issue was, or the photo is very low quality. So if we remove this line, it should output delete. Let's go ahead and test that. Say, I'm back here, move this back over here, move, and let's run this one more time. And you'll see that it did indeed delete the file. You come back here, it renamed it as delete, we hit refresh, we'll see that the file was deleted. Perfect. So there you have it, a very powerful AI agent powered Google Gemini Nano Banana powered photo sorting workflow. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could give it a like, and do remember to subscribe to the channel for more AI and automation content.